You're listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. On this episode, hosts Mariah and Stephen discuss WeChat for U.S. organizations. Today's episode is sponsored by Dream City Christian School in Glendale, Arizona. Dream City offers an exciting program through high academic standards, comprehensive fine arts programs, exciting and engaging extracurriculars, championship-level athletics, and state-of-the-art STEM programs. Thanks for listening.
Cambridge Insider Podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Mariah Thompson, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you, Stephen?
Also doing well, thank you. Mourning the end of the summer, which, as many of you know, on the East Coast, I suppose across the US specifically, we're starting to see the end of the summer. Students are starting to fill seats in schools, which is exciting. But it is the death of summer and the start of fall and basically the start of winter. But that's not what this episode is about. So let's move on. Today we'll be diving a little bit deeper into WeChat. Something that so many of our listeners, so many of our extended Cambridge network family know about, and something that forms an integral part of some of the initiatives that we've started here at Cambridge. So let me start off by saying everybody sort of has an understanding of WeChat. Before I actually traveled to China, I didn't really have an understanding of WeChat. And then I got to China and realized that without WeChat, you really struggle to function in that country. You know, WeChat does everything from it's a social media platform to I am making payments to people to I am sending videos and you know using it as a corporate presentation tool when I'm giving presentations in the corporate world as well. So WeChat is just multifaceted, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. As part of our Cambridge Enhanced Marketing, which we speak about often here at the Cambridge Insider Podcast, as well as our Global College Connect, which we have also introduced to our listeners. Those are both our digital marketing services that we offer to high schools in the US as well as to colleges in the US. Really looking to take advantage of the growth in the digital space and with the end goal of trying to build their brand and recruit more students internationally. As a part of both Cambridge Enhanced Marketing, CEM, and Global College Connect, GCC, WeChat forms a really, really big portion of those two initiatives. If you are looking at this stage and sort of listening to this and saying, what is he talking about? Feel free to reach out and we can certainly set you up with a little more information about those two initiatives. But, the reason I think when we built CEM or Cambridge Enhanced Marketing and when we built Global College Connect, the reason why we focused so much on making sure that WeChat was a big part of that is the latest information that I have is that on a monthly basis, there are close to 1 billion users that use WeChat on a monthly basis. When I heard it for the first time, I did a little double take because I was just like, this is insane, right? Yeah. But it's been verified and it's true. And so almost 1 billion people or accounts or users use WeChat on a monthly basis. It's an insane amount of traffic, which was one of the reasons that we wanted to incorporate WeChat. Mariah, I want to give it over to you because the question that I often get when I'm talking about CEM or GCC is, but I have a WeChat account. Mm-hmm. Is that good enough? How can I use it? What should I be doing with it? It isn't good enough. And I want you to explain why not, right?
Yeah. So anyone in the US can have a WeChat account. I have one. I use it for instant messaging. I see it. If I have friends that also have WeChat, I can see their moments. But that's pretty much a lot of what you can do with just a US account. And then especially with advertising, you can't do anything with a US account when it comes to utilizing it in its full capacity. So there are ways for you to be a U.S. organization and achieve a verified WeChat account, which then grants you the access to use advertising. But because it is a China-based app, there are a lot of restrictions and a lot of processes that U.S. organization has to take to be able to become verified, which is why in something like our CEM and GCC digital marketing services, we emphasize this for our smaller universities or even our larger universities. It's a lot of work to maintain. And I'll go through some of that process, but that's why it's a good thing to partner with us, because we have a verified WeChat account. We have digital marketing specialists that know how to work WeChat, what their audience is like, how to target it. So that's why it's a big push for us and why it's a plus for you to partner with us on it. But it is achievable for a U.S. organization to become verified on WeChat. So I can take you guys through a little of that process. There is an application that you have to fill out, which can be intensive, but then it also can take up to 3 months for it to be processed and approved. And that's a long time to wait. But then also within that process, you have to already develop your campaign in all of your ads that you want to produce to be approved. So you are going to do all this work prior to even know if you're approved to have a platform on WeChat. So it is a little bit of risk. Now, I haven't heard much of people not getting approved, but it is an intensive process to get there. And then from there on, your ads always have to be approved. They always have to look through your ads before you're allowed to post. Yeah. And so then any other layer after that is that they also have a minimum budget that you're allowed to use for your ads. Here in the US, if you're running any type of ad campaign, you can kind of choose what you're going to use. I'm going to do $500 this month, $700 that month. You can kind of choose how well your ad is doing. You can turn it off at any time if you want, because it's the US platform. For the WeChat app, they require you a $10,000 budget limit. I mean, like minimum start. So they don't have any time requirement. You can do it in a year, you can do it in 2 years, but you have to spend at least $10,000 at some point before you can exit your partnership with WeChat. So for some people, that's a big budget spend. If you're going on just a limb, if you're not really quite sure if you want to utilize WeChat, it is a lot to ask. Which, yet again, we already have that verified account, so we can just run your ads for the amount we think that you should be running.
All right, yeah. Mariah,
it's a lot.
I just need to unpack this just for a second. All right, so WeChat, one of the biggest digital marketing or digital platforms worldwide, close to 1 billion users monthly, right? Incredible reach, incredible traction, incredible opportunity to be able to talk about and build your brand. US institutions can get a verified account.
Yes.
However, all of that you just explained is required for them to get a verified account. Is that correct?
Correct.
We already have a verified account and can offer that to all of our US institutions that we partner with on Global College Connect and Cambridge Enhanced Marketing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wowza. All right. I do have another question for you, because I think, and this is new to me, I suppose, in a way as well. When you talk about, you mentioned the advertisements that you can do on WeChat. You know, in my mind, because I only have the unverified account, I'm like, WeChat is there as a social media messaging type of app. But you're talking about advertisements. Take me through that just a little bit, because I think that adds an even bigger dimension to how do we reach these close to 1 billion users that are using it monthly?
Yeah. So once you, for most of the billion that are in China or in East Asia, they have like full capacity. It's like every app that you use in America on one site. So if you think about Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, it's all one site. So there are several ways that you can get your ads out there. One of the ways is a WeChat moment. So this would be like compared to Instagram. You're scrolling through, you see the things that you follow, and then like every 3 posts, you'll see an ad pop up. That is a way that on WeChat, your moments, your ads will be shown into the scroll naturally to your users and to your audience. We'll target and select the audience that fits your demographic, and then those moments will just pop up in their feed. It wasn't anything that they searched, but because the way technology is in marketing, we can target those audience, so it'll just pop up in their feed. So that is one way. So they can be not even searching for it and see your ad. Another way, and another way is banner ads, which some people might be familiar with. any article that someone clicks on to or a post that they want to read, it'll just be at the bottom. So once they get to the end, because your keyword searches that we put in there will be similar to what they were looking for in the article, your ad would be placed at the bottom of that blog or whatever they were looking at. So that is the second way. And another way, which is kind of scary to people because they don't really know how to use it or understand it, and it's really just starting to take off in the last couple of years, is WeChat key leader promotion, which in America we call that influencers. So if you ever see people on Instagram or TikTok that you're like, I always see them everywhere, people are always following them, that is hiring someone that has a big platform, that has a lot of influence in someone's life to promote your product. So if there was someone in education that has a lot of influence to students or to parents, we could hire them to then promote your school, if that's a way. But that's not really typically the way that we use WeChat. We focus on those banner ads and those moment ads.
I think from what you just said, it's just, apart from the fact that we have almost 1 billion monthly users on WeChat, the way you just describe it, there's sort of really no end to the power of WeChat and the ability to just talk about a product of yours, talk about a program of yours, and get that into the right hands, right? Get an audience that's interested in that. The final thing that I did want to mention, and I think this is important, you mentioned it earlier on, that we have the expertise in terms of we have a team that creates content. That content is not just good content in terms of here is a school program that we're looking to promote, but it's also great expertise in terms of it's being able to tailor that content to the audience, to make sure that the audience understands it, that it lands with the audience. Because I think a big challenge for us at Cambridge over years and years of working through this sort of cultural divide has been, how do we take information that we understand and we can process really easily on a cultural level? How do we make sure that on a cultural level in the West or in the East or wherever we're working, that is also understood? And I think that expertise that we have with, so many multi-diverse people that work in this company and work on these social media platforms, we have the ability to do that.
Yeah, and it's such a big deal because the way that you communicate to the US audience and then to the China audience is so different. Like, I do this for a living and I feel like I would struggle figuring out the best way to communicate to the Chinese audience, but we have other people on our team that specifically are creating and marketing for the China and the East Asia audience, that live there, that have grown up there, that know their people and then their culture so well, so they know exactly how to market to them, just like how I do here in the US. So,
Incredible stuff. Cambridge Enhanced Marketing, Global College Connect. If you're not on one of those platforms, you need to seriously have that conversation. You need to start considering those options. So many of the partners, current partners, prospective partners that I talk to have these great programs, but it's about making sure that we can get that onto the right platform. Number one, WeChat as one of those platforms, and then also being able to make sure that we can put that great program in a way that's digestible, in content that's digestible for the audience. So GCC, CEM, make sure you connect with your team at Cambridge Network and we can chat a little further about this. Mariah, I feel like maybe today we won't do final thoughts because we've said a lot. So let's just,
so much.
I appreciate, as always, your expertise. And again, if anybody wants to, find out a little bit more about this, get a little bit more information, Mariah is more than willing to answer those questions. Feel free to drop us a line, send us an email, reach out, and we'll be back in touch. To all of our listeners, we appreciate you, as always, listening. Remember to like, listen, and subscribe, and we'll catch you around the next episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. For more Cambridge updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Have a great week and stay connected.